we are going to have to fix the issue around how we finance growth. The system as we have now does not work, and it is mortgaging our kids and our grandkids for the sake of quote-unquote affordability today. We've got to fix it. We have to be very clear that sensitive intensification and redevelopment of existing neighborhoods doesn't mean high-rise condos on every street corner. There's no city in the world that has succeeded in doing that except maybe Toronto. That's not the point. The point is that right now we artificially subsidize growth on the fringes of the city at the cost of people who live in existing neighborhoods, and we have to level that playing field. Once we level that playing field, then the market will decide. Some people will want to move out to the outskirts, some people will want to build a new home or move into an existing home and renovate it, or tear down a home and build a duplex, right, in existing neighborhoods. But we have to level that playing field so that the market can make those decisions. I'm not interested in telling people where they need to live, but I am interested in fixing a system that forces people into a certain model of living because it seems to be cheaper, but in reality we're subsidizing it. That's what we have to fix.
What evidence do you have that if you level the playing field and you leave it up to the market, that the market simply isn't going to say, we still want to live in the suburbs?
I don't have any problem with people who want to live on the fringes as long as they're paying the cost for that. Right now we're subsidizing that choice, and it's the least sustainable choice happens to be the one we're subsidizing. That's the part that doesn't make any sense.
But how does, if people do choose to live then on the outskirts of the city, how does that fit into the larger philosophy, the Planet Calgary, the transit-oriented city?
It still works because there are two elements to that. One is that we do have to make it easier for sensitive intensification of existing neighborhoods. That does not mean high-rises everywhere. It probably does mean high-rises around C-train stations. But it certainly means sensitive, thoughtful things in other places. So if I've got a derelict strip mall at the end of the street with a 7-Eleven and a pizza place in it, can we redevelop that so I still have my 7-Eleven and my pizza place, but maybe there's a couple of stories of people living above, looking out on the street, young families moving in, keeping kids in the schools, and so on. That's really what we're talking about here, okay? Or how is it that it is so much easier for me from a process perspective to build in a brand new greenfield neighborhood than to redevelop one single home in an inner city neighborhood? Doesn't make any sense. But the second part of it is that we also have to build our suburbs smarter. Fixing the cost around the suburb, the cost issue around the suburbs is just one part of this. The other part is building suburbs that are easy to serve by transit, where people can walk to the grocery store, where kids can walk to school once the schools are there. We went through a period where we didn't build suburbs like that. We built suburbs that were designed only for the automobile, not for the person in it. And the good news is developers understand that. They understand that we made mistakes in the past. And the brand new neighborhoods that are being built now in every corner of the city, whether it's Mahogany in the Deep South, or Skyview Ranch in the Northeast, or Panorama in North Central, are being built to design principles that are much more sustainable, much easier to serve by transit, and by the way, much nicer places to live. And this will happen. And that's really part of Planet as well. So if people want to live on the fringes, as long as those fringe communities are built with sustainability principles in mind, I have no problem with that. But two conditions have to be met. One is they have to meet those minimum density requirements so that we can serve them by transit. And two is that the cost of growth must be borne primarily by the beneficiaries of that growth. And if we get those two criteria in place and that's what people choose, great, let them choose it.
The question when it comes to cost of growth is there still seems to be a dispute about how much it actually does cost.
Well, there's dispute about it, yeah, but there's only one set of data. And I've been saying to the development community for months, if you think the city's numbers are wrong, give me better numbers. I have yet to see better numbers.
What are you going to do if you get pushback from them? You already have in some ways, but when this really comes down to crunch time.
I've made it very clear, consistently, we have to finance growth by the people who benefit from the growth. We can no longer be mortgaging our future. You know, wastewater and water is a great example. We stopped charging developers for that infrastructure 10 years ago. Now we're sitting on $1.5 billion in debt. If we don't change that, every single ratepayer in this city will end up paying 50% more for their sewer service over the next few years. We can't continue like this. We simply can't. And those acreage assessments have to go up. Those lot levies have to go up. I'm willing to debate how much. I'm willing to debate over what period of time, but they have to go up.
In terms of secondary suites, your second point there, my sense from what you've said before is you essentially want them legalized, pending a couple of basic
Three
rules.
things, yep.
The fire, the
Parking, and the owner has to live there.
The owner has to live there. What is your sense of the appetite on council to make the changes that you're looking for?
I don't really know, because one of the one of the key things in my leadership style is that I want the ideas to stand on their own. I don't want to be a mayor who counts noses and stops when he gets to 8. That said, I would be surprised if many members of council didn't see the logic here. We're talking about protecting people. Right now, we have anywhere from 10,000 to 80,000, depending on who's counting, illegal suites in this city. And those tenants have no recourse. If their if their smoke detector doesn't work, if there are bars on their basement window that they can't climb out of, if there are safety violations, they have no one who can help them. If they go to the city and complain, then the city does what the city does, which is pull out their stove and cabinet and kick them out of their house. It's not a very good recourse, I don't think. We have to help these people. We have to do what every other city in the country has already done. We're the very last ones. It's not like we're being innovative here. And we know the public is on our side on this. The city did public opinion research that showed 80% of people want secondary suites legalized across the city, and something like 70% of them want them in their own neighborhood. The problem is that many members of council only listen to the remaining 20% who are loud. The point is, council needs to find the political courage to do it.